the shooter?
Yeah.
He's just there too. Not going too close now.
Russia makes big disclosure on Sydney Jewish massacre. Shockwaves from Sydney to Moscow after deadly attack. Sydney attack now global tragedy as identities are revealed. The terror attack at Sydney's Bondi beach is now sending shockwaves far beyond Australia. Russia has confirmed that its nationals were among the victims of the deadly shooting. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said Russian citizens and permanent Australian residents were killed in the attack, though officials have not released exact numbers or identities. Moscow called the assault an act of barbarity and urged a united global response against terrorism. Zakharova said Russia stands for an uncompromising fight against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. She offered condolences to the families of the victims and to all those affected by the violence.
We steadfastly stand for an uncompromising fight against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. We call for all countries to join efforts in combating this barbarity together. We express our deepest condolences to the families of the victims and all those affected by this terrorist attack.
Australian authorities say at least 15 people were killed and more than 24 injured. The attack targeted a Hanukkah celebration held by Sydney's Jewish community at Bondi Beach. Police identified the suspects as Saeed Akram and his son Naveed Akram. Investigators say the pair had allegedly pledged allegiance to Islamic State before the attack. A block IS flag was reportedly recovered from a vehicle linked to the suspects. Improvised explosive devices were also found inside the car, raising fears of further carnage. The older suspect was shot dead during a firefight with police at the scene. The second suspect was taken into custody in critical condition. Australian officials have formally classified the shooting as a terrorist attack. Security has been tightened nationwide as investigators probe possible extremist links. Meanwhile, Australian PM Anthony Albanese proposes tougher national gun laws after mass shooting in Sydney.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of terror, an act of anti-Semitism. An attack on the first day of Hanukkah, targeted at the Jewish community. A dark day in Australia's history on what should have been a day of light. And I want to conclude finally by saying that the government is prepared to take whatever action is necessary. Included in that is the need for tougher gun laws. And this afternoon at 4 o'clock I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet tougher gun laws, including limits on the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals. A review of licences over a period of time. People's circumstances change. People can be radicalised over a period of time. Licences should not be in perpetuity. And checks, of course, making sure that those checks and balances are in place as well. I'll take to National Cabinet this afternoon a proposal to empower agencies to examine what can be done in this area. Quite clearly, the Howard government's gun laws have made an enormous difference in Australia and are a proud moment of reform, quite rightly, achieved across the Parliament with bipartisan support. If we need to toughen these up, if there's anything we can do, I'm certainly up for it, and I hope to get National Cabinet on board for that this afternoon as well.
The massacre has drawn swift condemnation from world leaders. U.S. President Donald Trump and others denounced the attack and expressed solidarity with Australia.
Likewise in Australia, as you know, there was a terrible attack, 11 dead, 29 badly wounded. And that was an anti-Semitic attack, obviously. And I just want to pay my respects to everybody.
Even today, there are those who attempt to murder. And unfortunately, to our great sorrow, even today, they have succeeded in murdering Jews. They brutally massacred Jews in Sydney, Australia. I actually wrote a letter 4 months ago to the Prime Minister of Australia. And I told him, Pondita, your policy is actively encouraging terror. It is also promoting anti-Semitism. You are advocating for a Palestinian state, and you are essentially giving a prize to Hamas for the horrific massacre they perpetrated against us on the 7th of October. You are granting legitimacy to all of those rioters, and you refuse to lift a single finger to eliminate these terror strongholds. And this will inevitably lead to even more murders. He did nothing, and we know there will be more attacks.
I hope that the tomorrow will be better than the yesterday, and I hope that all necessary measures will be taken in order to make sure that the life of the Australians of Jewish faith will be secured.
What are those measures?
Well, it's education. It's first and foremost because it's needed enhanced security measures, even though on a personal basis I believe that it's needed. Although I believe it's needed, it's not the answer. The only community that is in need to go through security in order to exercise their right to worship their God is the Jewish community. I don't know when was the last time that you visit a temple, a church, or a mosque. The doors are open. Only the Australians of Jewish faith are forced to worship their gods behind closed doors, CCTV, guards. It's insane. This is really insane.
Specifically today, I wish to commend to the Lord the innocent victims of the horrific terrorist massacre carried out yesterday in Sydney against the Jewish community. We must put an end to these abhorrent forms of anti-Semitic violence, and we must strive to eliminate all hatred from our hearts.
Australia was plunged into deep mourning by an unprecedented anti-Semitic terrorist attack. The worst massacre the country has seen in at least 3 decades, and it is in this context that we learned with deep sadness of the passing of our compatriot Dan El-Kayam, who is among the 16 people who died on this occasion.
All of us are profoundly shaken by the horrific terror attack that took place yesterday at Bondi Beach during Hanukkah celebrations in Sydney. What should have been a moment of light, of gathering and of shared celebration for the Jewish community became a scene of brutal and mindless murder and violence. At least 15 innocent lives were taken away. 10-year-old Matilda and 87-year-old Holocaust survivor Alex were among the victims hunted down by the gunmen as they were on the beach. Many others are still in hospital, some in critical condition. They are all in our thoughts. And I also want to recognise that we would be talking about countless more victims today if it was not for the bravery of 43-year-old shop owner Ahmed, who, unarmed, ran into the gunfire and disarmed one of the terrorists. He was shot and is recovering in hospital. He was really the light on that dark day. This Parliament stands with the Jewish community of Australia and beyond. Anti-Semitism, religious hatred, violent extremism and terror have no place in our society, and we must do everything in our power to eradicate it